Good morning. Thank you so much for joining our coffee chat. I'm Deb Wilkinson. I'm the Vice President of the Health Plan Options here at URL Insurance Group. And today we're very lucky to have Earle King, the Director of Sales for Principal Financial Group. Thank you so much, Earle, for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it's a busy time of year for all of us in the industry, fourth quarter upon us. But I thought it was really important to make sure that we introduce the partnership that we have.
Absolutely.
And, hopefully inspire our agent partners and those listening to think about these ancillary lines a little bit more, not just the group health.
Sure.
So we'll start out with an easy question for you, nothing too hard. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and how you came into this market? I don't believe anybody starts out life saying, I'm going to work in the ancillary lines, but tell us a little bit about how you came to this segment.
Sure. So when I graduated from Penn State, I did what most college graduates do. They scramble around and don't know what they're going to do with the rest of their life. So look to move into a sales position and just kind of by happenstance, my mom worked with the regional vice president at Standard's mom, and they got talking about how great their kids were. So took a position as a rookie sales rep with the Standard. Was with Standard for 12 years, kind of covering the Philadelphia market, the surrounding counties, and then I have 12 years with them. Left to go to Liberty Mutual Benefits. We were more focused on the 1,000+ life space for life and disability. I covered North Jersey and upstate New York, so kind of got out of the Philadelphia market a little bit. And then there was the Lincoln Financial acquisition of Liberty last year, and began my career with Principal towards the end of September of 2018.
Excellent. Well, we're happy that you did because you've been a great partner for us. With you working for different ancillary type carriers, what do you feel sets Principal apart from your competitors?
I think really the main thing is Principal knows the market space they want to play in. And we've structured our contracts, our services, our service model to really be a fit and bring resources to that under 200 life market for ancillary benefits. I think things there that typically larger case carriers or larger cases have access to. So I think the strength of our dental network, we have the largest national network in the industry. I think the strength of our disability contract, how we structure the definition of disability, how we structure definition of earnings. I think those are two keys that really separate us from a product standpoint. And then I think our service model. Our local office is in Philadelphia. We're staffed with an enrollment specialist that can come out and do enrollment and education meetings. We have our implementation team that's staffed right in our office, come out, make sure that the case is installed correctly, that we get everything that needs to be set up on the front end, set up correctly. Our service team is exceptional. We have our business acquisition manager that makes sure everything is taken care of and new business is installed correctly. Our account executive team, local. You want to get somebody on the phone, you're not dialing an 800 number, you're not going overseas, you're not going one place for answers in a certain market segment or a certain product. Your account executive's there to kind of help
transition.
Help the transition, help with any issues, whether it's billing, claims, they have problems, they need people, resources. It's all local, it's all dedicated right here. So I think that service model really helps separate us and then certainly our structure in sales and going after that market. My partner, my internal sales specialist in our office, he and I partner together to make sure that we're presenting our products in such a way that helps Principal differentiate and really highlights contractually and how we're structuring plans that really deliver value to the customer.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned that, your target market is the under 100 and, that's the American employer platforms. There are not many employers are the 100+. Most are in that 2 to 50 market.
Right.
And I think that speaks volumes in really looking at Principal for those smaller groups or, the mid-sized groups. You also said about, when you started about relationships. And I think that's so important too.
Sure.
And that transition, a lot of agents that I talk to feel like, well, we've secured the health. They work so hard to really develop those relationships on the health, the group health side, that they're almost afraid to bring in another product because it might disrupt what they've built on the health side and those relationships. So that transition team is key to sure that everyone really has a pleasant experience and knows where they're going and
Right.
who to call. So you also mentioned a little bit about your definitions of disability. I know specifically it's an and versus or versus and. So you
Right.
want to talk a little bit about that and the importance of that
Sure.
singular word.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of times, and you and I have talked about this over the past few months about, a lot of times the focus is simply on the plan design basics. What's the benefit percentage, the maximum, the waiting period, the maximum benefit period. And a lot of times some of the really important features, the definition of disability, the definition of earnings, exclusions, limitations, those types of things are sort of overlooked. They're not put on spreadsheets. They're not really, and really when somebody goes out on a claim, the detail of how the contract is structured is really what's important.
Absolutely.
So with that simple word, or versus and, with an or definition, you can qualify for disability with a loss of earnings or a loss of duties, either one. With the and definition, you have to have a loss of both.
Yeah.
So if you have a business owner who goes out on a claim and he's still getting earnings from the company because he's an owner, he wouldn't qualify for disability with certain carriers the way they structure their contracts. So that's why that one little word is so important. We talked a little bit about earnings definition, K1 earnings, what's offsetting, how are you structuring Social Security offsets. And a lot of those details, they don't really come to the forefront until somebody goes out on claim and then it's an issue. So we want to make sure that we're educating the broker partners that we're working with so that they know the importance of those features on the front end, and then they can start to have those conversations with their customer. There's so much focus on medical, and I understand that, with changes, and certainly it's the top of people's mind when you think of, hey, what's the most important benefit in your in the package that employees have? It's medical. But we really want to make sure that we're educating people on the importance of disability and life insurance and dental and vision, and how employees value those benefits as well. And in comparison to medical, the cost of those benefits is minimal. Don't go low rate, and don't just focus on price. Really focus on the quality of the contract that you're providing, because that few pennies maybe on a rate or a couple percentage points in pricing differential really doesn't make much of a difference when somebody goes out on claim and they have a restrictive definition or offsets, or the contract isn't structured the right way, or doesn't have the right features built in. Right,
exactly. The employees that are looking for a place to land and build a career are looking for those benefits and the value that employer is. These go right in line with attracting new and retaining current employees. So many carriers have a different approach to the 2 to 9 market, which, a lot of folks are in that 2 to 9 market. So can you tell me what features make your 2 to 9 market segment more attractive than others, possibly?
Yeah, we actually started 3 lives. So our 3 to 9 life product, and anything under 10 lives is a little bit of a tricky segment.
Yeah.
Just because the exposure, the risk factors with a smaller group, one claim can really kind of push that account to a place where it'll never really turn profitable, and it will never get out from under itself. So a lot of our competitors have kind of a canned product that they have in that space where there's really no flexibility. We do have flexibility in that market space, so we can do a little bit more in terms of plan design, and there's guarantee issue that we can offer. I think when you're under 5 lives, it can be very tricky.
Yeah.
But we do have a solution in that space, and I think it can separate us, because a lot of our competitors are really kind of shying away from that space.
Yeah.
So if you're having those conversations with a small business owner, and again, you're recognizing the importance of these benefits, how it can help attract and retain talent, there's solutions there that we can bring: life and disability, dental, vision, those ancillary products to really help those employees have that kind of income protection. Whether it's through disability policies, or again, that life insurance that we that we talked about, and the importance of having that.
Right, absolutely. So for those agent partners that have joined us, do you have any advice for them to on how to secure more ancillary business? What are your tips for getting in there and really looking at the whole solution for that group?
Yeah, I mean, I think the conversation really needs to start with what's the budget look like?
Yeah.
What is the employer looking to do? If you were to ask the employer and there was no cost associated with it, they'd love to give a complete benefit package and the best benefits they could, but you need to really kind of wrap your head around what their budget is, look at that pool of money, and then get a feel of, okay, what benefits can we utilize there? And then really start to have that conversation about the importance of offering those benefits, even if it's voluntary.
Exactly.
If they have the ability to maybe contribute to some of the benefits, we can structure the plan that way. But even to offer those benefits on a voluntary basis and then utilize the carrier's resources. I mentioned earlier, we have an enrollment specialist, our account team that can come out. We can do education meetings, enrollment meetings, and that really helps emphasize the importance of these benefits to the employee.
Yeah.
If you're not in this business or this market, you're aware of those benefits, but you don't understand the detail of it, or how the products work, how they can be structured. So I would say lean on the carrier rep. If you've got a quality, group insurance sales rep, you can really lean on them for their expertise and the assistance in kind of developing a plan and coming up with a solution for that end user that fits their budget. And whether you're offering those plans on a voluntary basis or if they have the ability for an employer paid, even if it's a minimal benefit, just to kind of plant the seed with employees that the employer shows value in them. And like I said, I think so much focus on medical, ancillary benefits are very important too. So I think, not kind of, I get a lot of time, we put so much focus on the medical because they're getting an increase here and they're looking to, save money anywhere they can. So they're focused on maybe that penny or two savings and, where a carrier lines up on the spreadsheet. Like I said, I think the focus there and to really bring value to that customer is to show them, look, you may spend a couple of pennies here, but it's not going to offset what you're paying on a medical. Offer quality, even if you can't offer it on a 100% employer paid program. Don't water down the benefits. Don't overlook some of the really important features that make those benefits of value to the end user, to the employee when they go out on a claim.
Right. Well, and, on the voluntary side, depending on, the product that you're offering, it could actually end up not costing the employer anything in premium, but saving some payroll taxes if the deductions are done pre-tax. So there's definitely, that approach. You mentioned about leaning on your sales rep, and that's certainly something that, I think could be attractive to our agent partners because, we run an Orion program here, which is a referral program. And a lot of what our agent partners are referring are lines that are outside of their wheelhouse. So I think that's really important to, if an opportunity does come along, to really rely on you. You could be the expert for them. There wouldn't be a disruption or any sort of fear of losing that health client, but only solidifying that by bringing in the expert.
Yeah, and I think, a lot of times you think of sales and you really kind of focus on, I think my role really is to be a consultant and to be a resource.
Yeah.
So, if you have a producer or a broker that doesn't really have that expertise in the ancillary benefits, utilize, the sales rep as a consultant to help structure those plans and really add value by, there's no harm in saying, hey, listen, this is the rep from the carrier. He understands these things and I'm going to let him do the talking for me or I've had this conversation and these are the things that he sort of educated me on that I think are important to you. So whenever I can tell the principal story, get in front of a customer or broker to really kind of have that, which is why this is a great forum to kind of start to think about some of those things that are outside of, those 5 plan design basics or, a lot of times we'll look at dental plans and you're simply looking at the basics, the co-insurance. You're not really diving into where procedures placed, how often are cleaning scheduled, are there composites, what's the strength of the network, what's the out-of-network reimbursement.
Absolutely.
So a lot of that detail that gets overlooked really could if you're not doing your due diligence and making sure that plan design is really the best you can offer, you could open the door to really costing yourself the medical business. Well, we had an issue on a dental claim and the CFO wasn't happy with the plan we were offered, and then before we knew it, we realized we had a really watered down dental plan that we didn't realize wasn't as strong as it could have been, and the price differential wouldn't have been that much to offer a much better plan. So, like I said, I don't know everything about everything, right? I don't know medical. I couldn't really talk with a high education about medical or retirement planning, but when it comes to group benefits in our products, because I've done this for close to 20 years, I know the kind of ins and outs and can help a broker that probably their focus may be on retirement planning or medical. I can help be that resource to say, hey, these are some things you want to consider to protect yourself, to deliver the most value you can to that customer. And then that really protects the core business that you focus on.
Totally agree. Well, we are starting to wrap up. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type those in. We'll take those live. Make sure you challenge Earle to some difficult questions. So, I think with these ancillary lines and back to our Orion program, I think that platform that you talked about really does speak to our agent partners that may be hesitant to jump into this line. And I think that's a great offer. And hopefully you'll take Earle up on his offer to go out with you to a group and talk about those ancillary benefits, fill in those holes, and offer some real quality products at good pricing as well.
I think that, certainly we understand this on the ancillary side, the importance of competitive pricing. And we understand, with our competitors, you need to be competitively priced. But again, I think the real important part is to kind of look under the hood and see what you're paying for. You can really kind of structure a plan and get to a pricing point by doing a number of different things with moving plan design features and exclusions and those different things. But I think the important part is to make sure that the customer is educated on what they have and how to utilize those benefits.
Totally agree.
If you have a dental plan structured and you have, folks in the group that are loyal to their dentist and they've gone to them for years, and are they in network or are they out of network? Situation a few weeks ago where you just get the classic, our dental plan stinks. Well, why does it stink? What's called? Well, my dentist isn't it's in nobody's network. They don't take anybody's insurance. I said, okay, well, why don't we structure the out-of-network benefits richer? We'll do a 99th percent UCR so that it almost makes an out-of-network provider feel like an in-network provider. So your out-of-pocket costs aren't as high. A lot of things we do, with procedure placement and really another important thing with dental is call the carrier ahead of time. Make sure that you get a pre-certification on those claims. We do that no cost. You just call up. You'll understand what your out-of-pocket costs will be on the front end rather than just getting hit with this bill. I think a lot of times, especially with dental, people think I have dental insurance. Everything's paid for, and that's not how dental is structured. You have a more serious procedure that you need, whether it's filling or root canal or those things, understanding how that plan is structured and how those benefits are paid, whether or not the provider's in or out of network. So those are a lot of important features to focus on. And I think the other part of what we can do and what separates us from our competitors, Principal owns our own dental network. There's a lot of our competitors that have leasing arrangements and those kind of things. So all of our products are on one bill. There's one service contact. Bill payment goes to one place. Some of those partner arrangements got to make changes in two different systems. If somebody is a new hire or a termination, you've got to add them in on the life and disability. Then you got to go to another system to handle. Everything with Principal is one place. So I think that's important to realize too. Is what's the carrier's level of expertise? Particular product line, whether it's dental or vision or voluntary benefit space, life disability, and what they can bring to the table as a package. I think when you're able to offer more benefits, particularly with Principal, there's a number of different discounts and package discounting, and really having that conversation with the rep so that the rep understands, okay, that they have a life insurance plan in place, they have dental, they have vision, but they don't have disability. They want to offer it, but I don't know if it's going to sell. So I think understanding where the customer is, really what their goals are. They want to offer it, but we looked at employer paid and they think it's too expensive. Okay, well, if there's value there, we could look at a voluntary, and then we could use the voluntary as part of the package to help drive down the employer costs on the employer paid line. So having those conversations, given that feedback of, I was never a big believer of how do we look? Well, you need a penny here, a penny there. And, it's becomes more of a rate game there. So I think when you can really demonstrate the value so that the customer, the broker, everybody understands what's there, what you're buying. I think a lot of times like I said, those details don't get highlighted. You walk into a Best Buy and you want to buy a TV, it kind of tells you everything the TV does.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times with ancillary benefits, you don't really get all the details of what the product can do or does and what that benefit package can do. And really a lot of the value in consolidating coverages with one carrier if it's possible.
Let's see if we have question from GM. Is a dental network, is it good? I bet you're going to say yes.
It is. So like I mentioned before, Principal owns our own dental network. All the providers that are in our network, we do have leasing arrangements in pockets of the country where the dental network is just not as strong. But in this local market in kind of Eastern Pennsylvania, we have a very strong network. It's the largest national network. You can access it at principal.com, going to find a dentist. And I think, again, as we talked about what the sales bring to the table for you, ask for some of those things, whether it's a video access report, a network comparison. We have a number of tools in our office where I can take the census, I can look at, okay, they've got employees in these 4 or 5 counties. I can give you a network comparison showing Principal, maybe to the incumbent, maybe to some of our top competitors. So you have a feel of the total number of unique dentists. And I think another important part when you're looking at that is access points versus unique dentists. So a lot of times carriers may show access points versus the number of unique providers that are in the network. And I think the difference in that comparison, when I first got into the dental business, it was the difference between knobs and belly buttons, right? So doorknobs are your access points, and then your belly buttons are the actual provider. So if you've got a provider that may practice in a number of different offices, that number is going to be different.
Right.
Like I said, very confident in the strength of the Principal dental network. And when we're having those conversations, when I'm having those conversations with brokers, and I know you and I have done it before, when I send you a dental proposal, a lot of times I'll just be proactive and say, hey, here's a snapshot of the network. If they've got, XYZ carrier in 4 cities, and
looking pretty good.
We're 25% larger in terms of number of unique providers in our network. So
right. Let's see. So it doesn't look like there are any additional questions, and that's fine. Certainly you can always call myself or Earle and reach out to us, and we can offer any sort of answers to your questions or insight. I would challenge you to look at your group block and look at maybe if there are holes, and start with something simple, even a dental quote, or look at simple life quote, life and accidental death and dismemberment. I think that can really bring value and start to build upon these employer paid or voluntary to take a more holistic approach to those group health plans. Earle, is there anything as we close that you wanted to leave with our audience?
No, I think we covered a lot, and I think the importance of the focus on that, and from a producer perspective, don't be afraid to kind of step out of your comfort zone, even if it's ancillary products and you're not really familiar with the market and how those products work, and like I said, really lean on the carrier rep as a resource to help you understand the strengths of the contract, strengths of network, different things that you can really use to deliver value. And then, as I said before, don't leave the door open to another producer coming in and taking business. And
absolutely,
I've dealt with a lot of guys that say, I have the medical and that's my focus. And then before you know it, another producer that has the ancillary takes the medical away from them.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to really focus on these products, the value that they can deliver to really the employer and the employees. It's if an employer's in a situation, particularly in that smaller case, we talked about that small case market and the value that one employee being out can really, the impact that can have. when you really focus on these products, importance of them, if something were to happen, that's really where it can help protect the employer.
Yeah.
You have an employee that goes out, or there's a death, and the family's supported, and other employees know, well, there was a death, but the family was supported based on the strength of the life insurance
Right.
and AD&D, that the ability to enroll in a voluntary life plan, that my coworker had the coverage that they needed to protect their family, or if there's a disability and they went out and friends are rallying around them that to help, and what are they going to do? That income protection's there. We were talking about it in your office before we came in. Disabilities happen, and 1 in 5 people are going to be disabled. The statistics are there.
Right.
If that happens, mortgage company, the electric company, that they don't want to hear it. They want their money.
No,
So
they want their money.
that income protection is there. And then there's those voluntary, the critical illness, the accident, those voluntary benefits that can help really bridge the gap in those high deductible income or high deductible medical plans. And
Sure.
I think that's really where producers need to recognize the difference between long and short-term disability versus critical illness and accident. One is really more designed to protect your income, pay your mortgage, pay your bills, versus the accident and critical illness were really designed to help cover the medical bills when you go, you've got a high deductible plan, these bills are coming in. Those products are really structured to kind of help sidecar with the medical.
With the medical. Well, I appreciate your time very much. I
pleasure. This is
appreciate
great.
everyone joining in, and hopefully you've been inspired to go out there and look at your groups and see if there are any holes, and give it a shot, whether it's directly through our Orion program or using Earle and his expertise to help really, again, take that holistic approach to your groups. So thanks again for joining in. We look forward to more of this format, and I wish you all a very happy holiday season. Bye-bye.